Hi, thanks for joining us for another edition of Ask Spurrell CPA. Today we're talking about technical expertise versus business expertise. So I have Laura here again with me today. Laura, thanks for joining us. So Laura, is your little one learning anything about business yet? Not yet. Too young. So they're not. Mine's trying to sell me stuff. I don't know if that's. I think that's maybe my fault. So the quote that we have here today, Michael Gerber quote, is: the fatal assumption is if you understand the technical work of a business, that you understand the business that does that technical work. And that's the fatal assumption. Statistics, Industry Canada tells us that 50% of Canadian small businesses fail, and those are probably the most optimistic stats that you can find on that subject. Some people will suggest that it's up to 90% that fail. And what happens is a lot of business owners, they get into business because they're better than average at a particular technical skill. They're a really good dentist, they're a really good doctor, they're a really good plumber, they're a really good general contractor or carpenter. And they think that those skills will guarantee them a successful business. They think that those technical skills in that trade, that vocation, that professional skill is going to guarantee a successful business. So, Laura, what are the questions that you think that these business owners need to be asking?
Do skilled technicians often fail in business?
Happens all the time. We see plumbers who are extremely successful, or an electrician who's extremely successful, or a contractor who's really good at their job, and they were an excellent employee and probably a top performer on their team, and then they go into business and it doesn't actually work out for them. So that technical expertise isn't as correlated to the success in the business as these people think. You would think that your own rationality, thinking, well, if they're better at this job, that must make that they'll be a good business owner, and it just doesn't seem to correlate around that fact.
Can people succeed in business without knowing the trade themselves?
Yeah, so there's the other flip side of it, where it just because you're good at the trade or that skill, it might not work. But then there's people who they're not good at it at all, but they can run a successful business. They might not even have that ticket. They might not be a plumber, or electrician, or a contractor, but they run a successful contracting business. Or you get a physician who's an average physician, but they run a fantastic clinic and they employ dozens of doctors. So you get a guy like Richard Branson, who owns a business in every single discipline, and I guarantee you he doesn't know how to fly a plane or get to the moon or build a cell phone tower, but he runs businesses and he builds businesses. So just knowing that technical skill won't guarantee success. And even if you don't know that technical skill, it's been proven that if your business skills themselves are more important in the successful business.
Will being good at your trade alone get you customers?
Yeah. So here's what people think is I am I'm the best plumber. I'm the best auto detailer, and so everyone's going to come because they're going to know about my work, and it just doesn't work that way. The marketing world is there's just so much out there. So just simply doing a good job alone. I'm not saying you don't do a good job. You have to do a good job to succeed in business. But just doing a good job alone, most people will never know that you're doing a good job, and they'll never know to call you just by doing a good job alone.
Do most business owners underestimate the time required for marketing?
Yeah, 100%. So they can do a good job, but then they don't promote to their ideal and likely buyers that they are the leader in this area, that they are going to do a good job. And so they just don't get noticed. And they think that marketing is something that often that you can do periodically. When we're short on work, then we can do marketing. But marketing is extremely difficult as it is, and it becomes even more difficult if you stop and start it. You have to invest more time if you want to do it all at once. It's a lot easier. A lot of most effective marketing initiatives are something that they're more efficient if you do them periodically over time. But if you stop and start them, they're generally not going to work all that well. And business owners, they just completely underestimate the amount of time that it's going to be required, not just to do a good job, but to make sure all of your ideal and likely customers know that you can do a good job.
If you have good technical skills, can you afford to ignore your numbers?
No, you still can't, going back, knowing your numbers, businesses, they fail because they can't get enough customers, and they fail because they run out of cash. And business owners, they're not looking at their numbers. So, and most business owners don't have an accounting degree. They're not a finance person, and they might have too much of that do-it-yourself attitude. And so, they're either not looking at their numbers because they don't know what to look at, or they're looking at the wrong numbers altogether. So it's really important that these businesses owners, they cannot ignore their numbers. This is something you need to look at. You can't just delegate to someone else to look after the numbers. You need to know the numbers, and generally, if you want to build any size of a business, you need to pay someone who can put the right numbers in front of you and give you the right analysis on those numbers, so you can make good decisions on good numbers.
If you know a technical skill but can't teach that skill, will you be successful?
No. So just because you're really good at it, your business is going to be, the growth of your business is going to be determined by how many other people you can teach to do that technical skill. So if you have no desire to teach anybody a skill, don't be a business owner. Do not start a plumbing contractor business if you don't want to teach other plumbers. Because you'll never have anything more than a job, really. So if you want to grow your business, you're going to have to not just teach other people, but probably get excited about teaching other people and probably enjoy it too.
How do checklists and templates help average technicians perform at higher levels?
Yeah, so you have to realize that all of the people that you're going to hire into your business, a lot of them aren't going to have the same technical abilities that most business owners start a business, they become a top performer on a team, and they want to move to another team that they start because they think that they can magically find other people who are like them. But a lot of people, they just take a job because they want to take a job, and they haven't spent the time invested in getting that good at it. And even if they wanted to spend the time, they might not have had the right resources available, or they might not know how to do the things the way you want to do them. So the only way that you're going to coach that average employee up is to have those checklists and templates, which is kind of the recipe for success. It's like, you want to bake a successful batch of cookies. Well, write down the recipe. It's the same in any business. If you want to handle a particular situation correctly, write down what that recipe for success is. What are the checklists of the things you need to look at, and what are the templates that you need to use? And then you can turn the average technician into a high-level technician, and that's really the name of the game.
Can you advocate setting the strategic direction for the business?
Yeah, you need to set that strategic direction for the business. Normally should take the place of a business plan, and that's just not something that you can think will work itself out. You actually do need to look at where am I right now, where do I want to go, and how am I going to get there, and lay that out. And that's something that you as a business owner actually need to do. You need to do it and write it down in some sort of formal manner, and improve on that every single year. So you need to take time out of your day to set that strategic direction and formalize. And when I mean formalize, I mean put it in writing, that strategic direction, where you are, where you want to go, and the exact steps you're going to take to get there.
What normally happens when owners don't take an active role in recruiting?
Yeah, so a lot of business owners, you can hire an external HR firm, or they get just one person in their business. Say you look after the recruiting, that's fine. But then they complain when they don't get people who are on board with the mission. I don't like this person. They don't do things this way. You didn't take any time to hire them. The people that you bring into the business are much more important than any one job. So, if you're taking all your time and just looking at, I'm completing this one job and working on this one customer, well, that person that you're going to bring into the business, they're going to affect the relationship that you have with potentially all of your customers and multiple jobs over time. This is where you need to be allocating your time, is making sure I'm seeing enough people and that I'm meeting them, and these people have, are consistent with the values that I have and the objectives that we have as a business. That's probably the better use of your time for most business owners, even though it can be hard because usually that employee doesn't pay off for a while until they come into the business, until they get trained. But if you don't take the time to get the right people on the bus in the first place, you're probably not going to be happy with the result.
Do business owners underestimate the time required for training and leadership?
Yeah, 100%. So most people think that training is something that's going to happen overnight. They don't have a way to train them, and they don't have even after you go through a training program, what is that ongoing training? What looks good today to a customer will not look good in 5 years. They're going to expect more. That's just the way businesses are. So if you don't have time set aside to do that training with staff, first of all, you need to be doing training yourself to learn new skills, and then to pass that training on to your staff so they can get better. The team is not going to get better. You're going to blame the staff that it was that person's fault, or they don't work as hard as I do. Well, guess what? How much time did you take to try to train them to be better? How much time have you invested in leadership to communicate the values of the business? Most business owners, they completely underestimate how long and how often you have to communicate what those values are to the employees. And if you do communicate it to them often and consistently, people generally want to perform. They don't want to be bad at their job, and a lot of times it'll work out. But if you don't communicate it often, they're confused and they don't really know what to do. So you got to take the time to train and do leadership activities, and it's got to be consistent. It's got to be something in your calendar. It's not something that you can just not do because I have another job that I want to work on. Well, guess what? You're spending all your time working on those jobs because you're not training anybody to help you with them. So I think that's what we have here today. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, please hit the like and subscribe button so we can continue to deliver you tips on how to beat the odds at business. And please leave any comments below on what you thought, and if you have anything else that we'd like to address on future videos, please leave them in the comments, and we'd love to do it on a future video. Thanks very much.